Hello, my name is Marie Schamböck and I am trained as an architect, but I would say jumping between fields that in my view enrich each other very much. Since a bit more than 2 years now, I'm working for Herzog de Meuron in Basel, more on the operational side of things as I am a project assistant for the project Forum UZH, a new university building in the midst of Zurich, as well as a partner assistant. Besides, I'm writing mainly poetry and prose. A text of mine will be, for example, published early in the next year in Haus der Kultur in der Welt Berlin's publication concluding the Whole Life Academy, a mainly digital format concerned with new forms of knowledge production. And last but not least, I'm part of Neues Kino Basel, a small cinema in Klein Basel, which we collectively run and provide with film programs. So how did I end up here? Some years ago, I was actually not sure about doing my master's in architecture at TU Wien, because architecture studies bring joy and doubt, as you might know, and my parallel fascination with literature and theory was not finding a port, so to say. And when Vera Bühlmann joined TU Wien and founded the chair for architecture theory and philosophy of technics, this quickly changed. And after a while, about 4 years ago, I even joined ATTP as a student assistant. My thinking then was strongly influenced and challenged. And in the space at ATTP and in this rich environment within the mnemonics research group with Vera and Ludger and also Elias Zafiris, I learned a lot about, for example, information theory and technology on a more abstract level. So what I briefly want to introduce you to is my diploma thesis, handed in early 2020 and developed under the guidance of Vera Bühlmann. Its title is already indicative of its interest, Auftrieb und Drall der Stadt Mahagonni. It could be translated as buoyancy and spin of the city of Mahagonni, and plays with Bertolt Brecht's title for his text for Kurt Weill's opera, Rise and Fall of the City of Mahagonni. The thesis does not go with pure success or fail stories, but what I perceived as a spin or a tendency, a certain way of doing architectural and urban projects that go by a certain drive. And this drive is a seemingly strongly economic one. So the thesis identifies a field of tension spanning in between the city and trade, architecture and its market, and commences from the hypothesis that the contemporary city is less a place of trade, but it, or its elements, become an object that turns into a good. A thesis consists of 2 parts. Part 1 is giving a general introduction and investigating setups in a series of focused case studies, for example, on public-private partnerships, business improvement districts, or the entrepreneurial city. This investigation culminated in a literary text as part 2, discussing the topic along a different spectrum. So what was identified or carved out as sides of the story, or rather spins, is translated into graspable characters. The merchant, the city, or the mother of cities, and the narrator, or the choir. These are the 3 voices that make up the libretto, that is, the text for an opera, meaning that it will be translated into even more spheres, musical ones. I will now show you a glimpse of it so you get a better idea how this works. And audible now are the recordings of parts of it, some by actor Lukas Darnstedt and some by Martin Buhr, a réalisateur who staged it in a small setup in autumn 2020.
Die beiden Wachen, gut getroffen, nun zusammen zweifelsohne Großes vor, in Bälde schon auf viel Gestalt der Böten und mit neuen Gütern, wohl bestückt und sich beraten, klingelbeutlich nimmermehr. Aufgeschoben manche Zahlen, aufgestellt am nächsten Tag, schneller, Straßen, noble Hallen, Einzelnes wird bald zu mehr, Raum der Wohner, sanftes Müssen, städtisch Wunsch treibt Preise hoch, dorthin, wo kein Stadtatom der Aussicht Genuss sich öffnen kann, leben hier die Zahlen schläfrig, wartend, wachsend an. Viele sind's schon, Orte, Städte, Einzelnes, die beiden rauschend, sans dos schon zu lahm, Ermattung, Rückzug ab und an. Stadtgeschäfte laufen weiter, in Zeiten, Sphären, Klassen, dann doch Glanz und Wuchern immerfort. Ein Abend ist's an steilem Ort.
Lasst uns nun sehen, wie weit sie gehen. Beginn der Reise kennt kaum Stadt noch Möglichkeit. Auftun wird sich neue Weise. Denn vielen sind die Wünsche wirr. Dann wird's noch mehr, quillt gar hinaus, und minder Lösung eingestreut, der Stillstand läge allzu schwer. Der düstern Red ein Abgesang zum Wohl der Leut und großer Orte, bedarf es keiner spitzen Worte. Besehen wir uns die wachen zwei, im Neuen zusammen hinfortgereist. Er folgt ja schon, der gebenden, verteilen, walten Augen scharf. Er von flinker Gestalt, zurechtgeschnürt und aufgeladen, schnellen Sprungs zur Seit, ist sie doch keine, deren Wort man ungehört verstreichen lässt. Zu warm die Umarmung des großen Gebiets, des weitreichenden Waltenkönnens. Er folgt und zeigt, was man ihm zuspricht, dass er kann.
So this is it. The thesis is also exhibited at Architekturzentrum Wien at the moment, in the DIPLOMA exhibition, in case you want to take a closer look. In case you're thinking about doing a diploma at ATTP, I can only recommend it. This environment around and beyond ATTP is very unique, and you will be beautifully confronted with texts and concepts, and in the end speak more than one language. And you will get stability in jumping the many fields and forms you might be part of at some point. I am sending you my best wishes and happy Lustrum.